All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. Hope y'all are having a good day so far. So, it's Michael Jordan time. I want to check out this video that just dropped from Eddie Buckets. This one's titled "The Season That Cemented Michael Jordan's Legacy." And first thought, I'm like, which season is this? Maybe 93? I think if you asked me, I'd probably say 93. 98's the obvious, but I mean, I'm pretty sure his legacy was cemented before that. But I'm curious what Eddie's got to say about this. I did happen to notice Eddie Buckets has only 6,800 subscribers. How is this possible? Eddie Buckets has been around for a while, pumping out content. I'm just shocked at that low subscriber count. So here's a challenge to you guys. One, I'm going to link the original video down below in the description. So if you guys want to check out this video without my commentary, go right ahead. But wait, before you do that, if you like this video and you enjoy the content, I highly recommend you go down there and subscribe. Because what the hell is this 6,000 subscribers thing with Eddie? I feel like he deserves a lot more. So that's my challenge to you. If you do enjoy it, give him a subscribe. Go check out some of his other content. If you don't like it, then don't do that. But yeah. And if you go and check him out, tell him who sent you, and let's make a positive impact if we can. Because Eddie, that subscriber count is it's just shocking to me, because that's the count of a noob, like somebody who's just on the scene. And usually when I do a little call to action like this, it's because hey, it's a new upcoming channel, and maybe we can blow them up. I feel like Eddie should have blown up already, but it hasn't happened. Anyways, so that's my challenge to you guys. If you like it, go and shoot a subscribe over there. Everybody who's going to continue on the journey with me, please leave this video a like. Helps out a ton. And that's more exposure for Eddie and all these positive things. So without further ado, and before you ask, no, I've never talked to Eddie. I don't know Eddie on a personal level. I do know some other basketball YouTubers a little bit, just from a little chit chat back and forth in the comments, which is awesome, by the way. But I've never talked to Eddie, so it's not like I'm I'm helping out a friend or anything like this. I'm just shocked, because I've been subscribed to Eddie Buckets for, I don't know, a couple years now, I think. So, all right, without further ado, let's get into this.
Michael Jordan is without a doubt one of the greatest players to ever lace up in the NBA. But if you had to choose just one season from MJ's career that cemented his legacy the hardest, which would it be? Maybe you'd choose the 1996 season, leading his team to the second greatest record of all time, while actually capping it off with the championship, unlike someone. Or what about the 1988 season? MJ won the Defensive Player of the Year and MVP while averaging 35 points a game. Or
Okay. 88 is when he confirmed he's the best player in the NBA. 93 is when he confirmed that he's the greatest there is. But I don't know if you could have said he's the greatest. I don't think you could have said greatest of all time at that point. 98 is when you could say that's the GOAT, hands down, no doubt. But yeah, back in 88, he was already the best, not greatest, but the best player we've ever seen.
How about the 1993 season, capping off his first three-peat while going into his first retirement on top of the basketball world? Or what if I told you that it's none of these seasons? What if I told you it was the season where Michael Jordan won his very first championship, disproving the narrative that he wasn't a winner?
Yeah.
The season where Jordan and the Bulls overcame the juggernauts in the East that they couldn't beat for years on end. This is the story of how the 1991 Chicago Bulls cemented Michael Jordan's legacy forever.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's a good pick. It's crazy to me because I can remember so clearly conversations with my brother back in the day where we totally expected Magic Johnson and the Lakers to just crush the Bulls, because they've never been to the finals. They've never experienced any pressure like this onto this level. And I got to be real. After a certain point, that was 6 years of us getting used to the Bulls losing, Jordan losing in the playoffs. So after that, we were just I don't know if he can do it. And we were kind of just used to it. So when he did overcome and he won that first championship, and he did it they won it in 5 games, it was a clean victory. that did change it. That changed the whole narrative. He's not the guy who can't win anymore. He's a champion, and then he does it 5 more times. People act like he was always a champion, like as far as his NBA tenure. And they forget the beginning part of the journey was climbing up that damn mountain. The very, very hard way that he did it, and then he was that champion. But I know, like, younger people, they can't respect that journey because they didn't witness it.
When you hear the name Michael Jordan, what do you think?
My dog.
The phrase 6 rings has stuck to Michael Jordan's name, how tape is stuck to paper. MJ is pretty much renowned in the sports world as the ultimate winner. Not only does he have 6 championships, but he's also never lost in the NBA Finals while getting those 6 rings. But what if I told you that this wasn't always the case? As a matter of fact, it was quite the opposite for MJ prior to 1991. Before this magical season, Jordan was known as a phenomenal basketball player, but not a winner.
Yeah.
He was an amazing talent, but his playstyle didn't translate to winning basketball. He needed to get his teammates more involved to have any shot of winning. But this would eventually change. But not after a brutal path of heartbreak after heartbreak, year after year, truly testing and hardening Air Jordan to get him into championship form. Michael Jordan was drafted by the Chicago Bulls in 1984 as the 3rd overall pick. However, the first 3 years for MJ and the Bulls were some to forget about. While Jordan was amazing with a stat line of 31 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2.5 steals through his first 3 seasons, the Bulls roster was simply incompetent, never having the pieces around MJ to truly contend. In 1985, the Bulls clinched the 7th seed with a record of 38-44, facing off against the 2-seeded Milwaukee Bucks. While Jordan was playing out of his mind as a rookie in this postseason, averaging 29 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and nearly 3 blocks, the Bucks beat the Bulls 3-1. And it was a similar story in 1986 and 87. MJ was playing simply amazing, pretty much doing whatever he wanted to against the Celtics both years. However, Larry and Boston were too much to handle. They swept Chicago in both 86 and 87.
Yeah,
MJ couldn't do everything by himself, though.
There's no way. We're talking one amazing player versus a lineup that is just so that it's an amazing. Yeah, I'm losing my train of thought. How about I just say one amazing player can never beat an amazing team. An amazing player can beat a good team, but not one of the greatest teams of all time, and that's what those Celtics were.
Help alongside him to even have a shot of competing.
It's Krause.
The next era of Chicago Bulls basketball is what I like to call the in-between area. While the Bulls weren't getting completely slammed in the first round year after year, they still weren't at championship level yet, going through some heartbreaking losses in the postseason. In 1987, Chicago had 2 of the top 10 draft picks, and their choices would completely alter the fate of this franchise.
Yep.
With the 5th pick, the Bulls selected the jack-of-all-trades, athletic 6'8" wing Scottie Pippen, and with the 10th pick, the Bulls picked the two-way force in the paint of Horace Grant. While Pippen and Grant both got off to slow starts in the league, they would eventually become key contributors of the Bulls down the road.
Yeah, and as much crap as I talk about Krause for how he blew up the team, that was some good vision right there, man. That's exactly what MJ needed. He needed some toughness down low, and he needed some help on defense. And he got exactly what he required in order to win.
The Bulls finished the 88 season with a record of 50-32 and clinched the 3 seed, improving their record by 10 games. MJ won both the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year, becoming the first ever player at the time to achieve this milestone. But the postseason would show how meaningful these awards actually were.
Can you guys imagine you get drafted into the NBA? You're just starting out your career, and you're playing with the guy who gets the MVP and the DPOY that year. You're like, how can you not just want to run through a brick wall for that man? It's just like he's working so damn hard. Can we get him a championship, please? I know I would. I'd run through a brick wall for that guy.
Their first matchup was against the 6-seeded Cleveland Cavaliers, led by Mark Price, Larry Nance, and Brad Daugherty.
Yep.
No joke. The Bulls won the series in a tight 3-2 fashion, but not without an absolute carry job from Air Jordan, putting up 250 pieces in 5 games above 38 points.
Jeez.
Something you'd see out of the GOAT. Anyways, their next matchup was against the bad boy Pistons with Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, and Bill Laimbeer. This series went horrible for MJ and the Bulls though. Jordan was looking like himself in games 1 and 2, but in games 3, 4, and 5, he was not the same man. The Bulls lost in 5, and MJ's production went down a mile from his series against the Cavs.
That's what good defense does, everyone. That's how you know you're dealing with good defense. Cavs were good, but not great. This Pistons team was insane. But he was still getting rebounds and a couple of... it is what it is. But it is also crazy that we see set 27.4, and we think of that as a bad performance from Michael Jordan. He spoiled us, man.
The Bulls got their first taste of the bad boy Pistons. In 1989, the Chicago Bulls finished as the 6th seed in the East with a record of 47-35, a small setback from last year's season, but the team still remained competitive. MJ once again put up MVP-like numbers, while key players like Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen were improving rapidly. And what better way to start off the playoffs than to have a rematch from last year?
He looks, he gives to Jordan. Jordan to the circle, puts the shot in the air.
Another contest against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Jordan showed the league that last year's series against the Cavs was not a fluke, beating Cleveland in 5 games yet again. MJ put up 39.8 points in this series. Their next matchup was against...
Once again, though, I always have to point this out.
MJ put up 30...
Boom. It never ceases to amaze me. The amount of difficulty of his shots, the double, the triple teams, the getting thrown on the ground constantly, and he's shooting 52%. He's the reason why, like, when I used to hoop, like, I kept track, and I expected myself to shoot at least 50%, or else, like, don't. You know, I'm doing something wrong. Then when, like, guys like AI and Kobe came around, I was always kind of critiquing them based on that. Because AI was shooting, you know, in the low 40s, and Kobe was in, like, the mid 40s, if I'm not mistaken. And I would always kind of pay attention, like, well, they're not shooting. They're not as productive or as, what I want to say, as consistent as MJ. Like, but looking back, that's a ridiculous expectation to shoot 52% under these circumstances. He was just a freak of nature.
39.8
and to score 40 points while you're doing it, come on.
Points in this series. Their next matchup was against the 2-seeded Knicks, led by their star big man Patrick Ewing. The Knicks were no joke, a very physical and chippy team, but Jordan was once again unstoppable, averaging 35 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists.
Here we go, everybody. I'm going to keep doing this until this is your habit too. 55% shooting. He also got 9.5 rebounds, 8.3 assists, and 35 a game. Unreal. Talk about consistency.
On 55% shooting, the Bulls beat the Knicks in 6 games, and it was time to go to the conference finals.
Yep.
The Chicago Bulls had their chance of getting their revenge on the team that eliminated them last year, another matchup against the Detroit Pistons. And at first, MJ's Bulls looked like the better team, taking a 2-1 lead and feeling destined to seek vengeance.
Ouch.
Well, that's until the Pistons took the Jordan rules to the next level and won 3 straight games, claiming them this series. What was supposed to be the Bulls' breakout year was spoiled. The Bulls in 1990 looked like a way better team, improving their record by 8 wins. MJ led the league in scoring and steals, and Scottie Pippen got his first All-Star appearance of his career. The Bulls clinched the 3rd seed this season, only behind, them. Their first round matchup was against the 6-seeded Milwaukee Bucks, who the Bulls took care of relatively quick. In the conference semifinals, the Bulls matched up against the Charles Barkley-led 76ers, where Jordan and Pippen combined for nearly 64 points a game.
Damn, good job, Pip. Yeah, Pip showed up on this one. Oh my God, MJ. No, but I mean this is abnormal for Scottie in the playoffs. That's some good shooting. Well done. MJ, of course, around 55%. Jeez. I tell you, if he didn't play those 2 years with the Wizards, I think his shooting percentage was going to be at 51 or 52% for his career. But those last 2 years really dragged it down.
On 54% shooting this series, gentlemen sweeping Philly. However, their conference finals matchup, though. The Bulls got yet another crack at beating the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons started off this series with 2 wins at home, 86-77 and 102-93. Joe Dumars played an excellent 2 games, putting up 27 and 31 points, while Jordan and Pippen
Can I just say real quick, that's one thing that drives me nuts. People talk about Isaiah, but they don't talk about Joe D. And it's insane to me because those two were a tandem. It's kind of like what happened with like LeBron and D Wade. Is like no one talks about D Wade, they just talk about LeBron in Miami, which is just asinine to me. But yeah, Joe D, man, he was arguably the best player on that team. Like it was they would kind of trade off, and they played different roles, and they were just such a great backcourt tandem.
A little bit to match Detroit. However, the Bulls flipped the script in games 3 and 4 in Chicago, tying up the series 2-2. MJ had back-to-back 40-point games and looked like he'd solved the Jordan rules from the Pistons, but then Detroit responded. The Pistons in game 5 in Detroit made a statement to the Bulls, beating them 97-83 and forcing MJ into a 22-point game, shooting a pitiful 36% from the floor. The Bulls then got a home win.
Wait, what was it? 7 for 19. What did he say it was?
Game, shooting a pitiful 36%.
Ouch. Yep. That's the Jordan rules right there. That you could just see the effect. He went from averaging like 56% to in the high 30s. Damn, man.
From the floor. The Bulls then got a home win of their own in Game 6, winning 109-91. Now it's on to everyone's 2 favorite words in sports.
Migraine?
Game 7.
Oh,
Game 7 was close at first, with a score of 19-17 Bulls at the end of the first quarter. But this was followed up with a 31-14 second quarter from Detroit, and the Pistons never looked back from there, finishing the game with a 93-74 win, reminding everyone why they're still the defending champions.
Well, that was the migraine. That was the Scottie Pippen migraine game, right? Like, that context is really important, which is sad because I think they could have done it. They could have got to the finals 1 year earlier.
1991 was yet another improvement for Chicago, going from the 3 seed to the 1 seed, and increasing their win count by 6 games. MJ won a second league MVP, averaging 31 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and near 3 steals a game. Scottie Pippen finally got some Defensive Player of the Year votes, and the Bulls were looking to make another deep playoff run.
Oh.
MJ and the 1-seeded Bulls' first-round matchup was against the 8-seeded New York Knicks, led by Patrick Ewing, and the Bulls absolutely manhandled them, sweeping them in 3 games. Their next playoff series...
Poor Patrick Ewing, bro. He's just wrong conference, wrong era.
Was against the 5-seeded Philadelphia 76ers, led by Charles Barkley. The Bulls once again took care of business, completing the series in a gentleman's sweep. But it was once again time for the Bulls to face their worst fear.
Yep.
It's the series that everyone's been waiting for. The Detroit Pistons were looking to defend their back-to-back championships, looking to three-peat, while the Chicago Bulls and MJ were looking to finally climb the mountain of the Eastern Conference and make it to the NBA Finals, and the Pistons were their last obstacle in the way. The Bulls had improved as a team by 6 wins, while the Pistons actually regressed by 9 wins. Detroit's core roster was starting to show clear signs of aging. Would this be the year that MJ and the Bulls beat?
It wasn't even that they were aging. It's that, I mean, in my opinion, they were getting tired by this point. Because, you know, that's what makes the three-peat so incredible, is because you have to factor in fatigue as well. You know, because you're not getting much of a break. You're getting the least amount of rest of any team out there in the offseason, because you're playing while other people are on vacation already, trying to win a championship. But yeah, I'm glad the way the legacy worked out, because if Jordan would have won a championship early and it would have been easy, then he wouldn't have been so protective over the kingdom that he had built on top of the castle. You know what I mean? It's just a different thing when you have to grind and lose. Like, eventually, once you get to the top, you don't want to lose anymore. You're very protective over what you've created.
We were sitting in the locker room after the game, and nothing was said. everyone just sat there for a moment.
We had a chance to beat them. We just didn't respond. You know, we got to that hill. We almost looked over the hill. I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated. I cried on the bus. My father came on and said, look, it's just one game. Bounce back. Come back next year.
Good dad.
Jordan, 10 to shoot. Jordan against Rodman, 8 on the clock. Michael Jordan the drive, baseline right, lead in, jumper, right to the end.
Yep, this was payback.
Backboard, other than the one hoop. We had a delay in game one. Jordan slices in. Told you before, 17 minutes, they've gone 6 more without a basket from up. Jordan.
Damn, way to split everyone.
One foul away from being disqualified. Jordan wants the ball, double team, goes up high. 7 rebounds and 23 points. Here's a knockaway by Armstrong to Pippen, ahead to Jordan for the jam.
The Chicago Bulls got full revenge on Detroit, sweeping them in 4 games and showing no mercy in the process. MJ seemed to have raised above the Jordan rules, showing that he was no match for the physicality the Pistons brought. While Detroit, they fell short. The Bulls finally got their sweet, sweet revenge after 3 straight seasons of losing to the Pistons. With this series win, the Bulls clinched their first ever NBA Finals appearance in franchise history, but their opponent was no one to feel easy about.
Isn't it crazy that the Bulls have never been back to the finals? I mean, not only that, they were never... The only finals they've ever seen was with Michael Jordan. I'll just put it that way. And Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson, to be fair. But, like, it's never happened before, and it never happened since. It's crazy.
The 1991 NBA Finals was a thriller of the new coming dynasty of the Chicago Bulls versus the dynasty that had completely controlled the NBA in the previous decade. Ever since the Lakers drafted Magic Johnson in 1979, the Lakers made it to 8 NBA Finals and won 5 championships in the span of 11 years. Along with that, the Lakers had 6 60-win regular seasons and never had a record below 54 wins. The Lakers had built up a culture of winning. It was the standard they had created. While the Bulls were just getting their first taste of success, this NBA Finals was going to be interesting.
I thought it was going to be a massacre.
Game 1 of the 1991 NBA Finals was a thriller. It was a pretty close game the entire time. Both teams took turns sharing the lead. Michael Jordan went for 36, 8, and 12 this game, while Magic Johnson had a triple-double of his own. The game was winding down. This gave the Bulls the opportunity to put the game out of reach for LA.
5 on the 24, Jordan. And Perkins rebounds. Lakers spending their final timeout.
MJ couldn't hit the shot though. With 23.5 seconds remaining, the Lakers had a chance to take the lead and steal this game.
Mike Dunleavy going with the shooters. Teagle, Scott, Perkins, Worthy, and Johnson. Bulls by 2. You see the clock running down. And Perkins goes for 3. He's got it.
What a shot, man. What a big-time shot.
To take the lead.
Money. The Bulls wouldn't score any more points, and the Lakers would win 93-91. Was MJ really that clutch player everyone had been saying? Was Chicago really built for these types of moments?
Man, me and my brother were so sad after that loss. We were so devastated. And that's when we had that conversation. We're like, I don't think they can do this, man. You know, like, Magic's just too good. An important note is Michael Jordan out-magicked Magic. And that's what the coolest part to me is about this. Man, he was he was a playmaker, you know, and a lead scorer, obviously, but he was a playmaker, and he outdid Magic, and I never thought that was going to happen back then.
And Michael Jordan has answered a couple of questions. There have been doubters over the years whether a team led by Jordan could win a championship.
Air Jordan and the Bulls proceeded to win 4 straight games.
Did you hear Marv Albert there? That was the narrative. Can a Michael Jordan-led team win? So it's so different than what it is now. But back then, it was like we all doubted that the Bulls could win with the format that they had.
To seal off Chicago's first ever championship, Michael Jordan was crowned the Finals MVP, averaging 31.6 rebounds, 11 assists, and nearly 4 combined steals and blocks, while being the only other player besides the man he just beat, Magic Johnson, to average 11 assists or more in the NBA Finals. After all the bumps, potholes, and detours along the way, Michael Jordan had finally proved that he could lead his Chicago Bulls to a championship. And he did it again, and again, and again,
not
and
one,
again,
not two,
and one
not
more time
three.
just for fun. This is how the 1991 season cemented the legacy of Michael Jordan forever.
That's a cool video series. I like it. So that's Eddie Buckets, y'all. I've reacted to Eddie Buckets video before, but that was a fun one. That was a really fun one to go down memory lane. And I guess I agree. It is what put Michael Jordan on like the real map, where it's like, nope, he's actually great. But you know, I still say like if he just did it once, history. Like in the moment, it was pretty great, but history would not remember him as like the greatest, like we do now. He had to win again and again and again and again in order to do that. And I'm glad I got to watch it all, and I'm glad he did. Because if it was like a one-time fluke, then we'd be like, yeah, well, you know, he lost all those years. He won one, like big deal. Kind of like how we talk about LeBron. It's like, well, he won 4, but he's been playing for 22 years. So what's the big deal at that point, you know? But in the case of Michael Jordan, it was like 40% of the time, 40-ish% of the time that he played a season of basketball, he won a freaking championship. So it started out rough for the first 6 years, but boy, did he catch up and and close in that gap to get to almost 50%. Anyways, everyone, I'm going to head out with that. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Did you think it was going to be 93 or 98 like I did? Let me know what you guys thought. Everybody, please leave the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and hit that bell if you want to get notified for when it's time to be water, my friends. Peace out.